Again, the topic of discussion today is how do I experience joy during God's mercy? I felt like in order for us to link the two words together, I wanted to define them first. So T.D. Jakes gave a great definition of mercy. He stated that it's God's personal relationship with each of us based on forgiveness, love, and his truth. I like to look at mercy as it's God's unwavering course of action and acting on our behalf, his children. Then we look at the definition of joy. Joy is a feeling of great pleasure and happiness due to success or a sense of well-being. So I want you guys to take a moment to reflect on a joyous moment in your life, whether it be a graduation, a childbirth, or an adoption, maybe marriage, or just accomplishing a long-term goal. See if I can move this down a little bit. I can. There we go. All right. And now that you've taken a moment to think about that moment, I ask that you also look at how would you describe the emotions that you felt during that time? Were you optimistic? Did you feel elevated, fulfilled, have a sense of wholeness? Were you excited? Did you feel confident during that time? And I ask you to take a step further and then reflect on what role did God's mercy play during the events leading up to that moment. I don't know about you, but there have been many events in my life where after time has passed, I say, how in the world did I pull that off? How did I basically pass the test? How did I accomplish that goal? And sometimes I can't really put it in words. How was I able to be successful with whatever the task was at hand? For me, two of the major joyous moments in my life were the childbirth of my two children. Pregnancy is supposed to be a period of, growth and happiness. I had a different path. I was unfortunate to have a condition called hyperemesis, where I was pretty much sick the entire pregnancy, 38 weeks. And not only was I nauseous during the day, it was pretty much all day, not just in the morning, which is typical for a lot of mothers to be for the first 12 weeks. Mine lasted the entire 38 weeks. And, I look back and I say, okay, how in the world was I able to travel 2 hours a day and actually see patients during that time? I think I missed a total of 5 days for both pregnancies. And I can't help but to say it was through his goodness and his mercy that I was able to successfully carry both of my children up to 38 weeks. And I can tell you, when they both were born, there was an immediate release, a sense of fulfillment and accomplishment, and tears of joy. Immediately, the moment that I actually saw them, I felt elevated and whole. One could say, let's go back here, that the season of Advent, not only is it a season of hope, it's a season of joy. I would definitely say that this was the true representation of God's mercy in our life, being the birth of Jesus Christ. It's one of the most historical events for sure. Luke chapter 2, verses 9 through 11 says, "An angel of the Lord appeared to them, And the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all of the people. Today, in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord." I can truly say that the birth of Christ was a profound opportunity for us as a people to start anew, new beginnings. This was the beginning process of our salvation. Growth and development. So, Psalm 16, verse 11 says, "You make known to me the path of life. You will fill me with joy and presence, in your presence, with eternal pleasures at your right hand." This pyramid honestly could mimic the pyramid of emotions, right? So if we could have the understanding that the walk of life is basically God stepping in and developing us to build integrity and character through many trials and tribulations. And through those trials and tribulations, He will act on our behalf with His mercy. With the mercy, at some point, it may not necessarily be on our time, but on God's time, we will be victorious. We will triumph. And when we are victorious, you reach the top part of this pyramid. Now, on the pyramid of emotions, the top is going to be wisdom. So you've gone through all of these trials and tribulations through your walk of life to gain all of this knowledge to make a joyful noise. And I truly believe that, it is our responsibility as His followers to take that opportunity to witness, to give back, and make a joyful noise in our own way. Each of us are different. We move differently. It may be giving a hug to someone, testifying to a patient that may be going through a challenging time. For me, after I had my two children, it was not within a good month or two that I was able to share knowledge with two pregnant women, two different, very different scenarios, but to give them the hope and understand the joy, the end result at the end for them to go through the challenges that they were going through during their pregnancy, but have the understanding that in the end, you're going to gain wisdom and have that joyous moment when your child is being born. It is all about perspective. You have to trust the process. You see, if you understand how Mary and Joseph, they didn't quite see the physical picture, you know, their labor and delivery room wasn't quite ideal. It was a manger, right? But they understood that and recognized that God's presence during their current circumstances was going to give them the ultimate salvation that they needed in the end. They had to trust the process and pretty much make that decision for joy to be omnipresent, whether it was that day prior to her delivering Christ and even after that part. You have to have that understanding that you can set the tone. You have that opportunity to be and make a difference in every scenario and trial and tribulation that you go through. I think it's also important, when you go through these events to have the understanding that you were built for this. And when you truly build that skill set to dig deep inside and have the understanding that God will act on your behalf, you can reflect on the following passage. It says, it's Isaiah 55, verse 12, where it says, "For you shall go out with joy and be led out with peace. The mountains and the hills shall break forth into singing before you, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands." So again, joy being present it looks different for all of us. Okay, I don't want to run out of time here. Um, but that song holds a special place in my heart. Um, my grandmother insisted on my cousins and I to join this youth choir group when I was 10 years old. And, I'm sitting here wondering, why is she insisting on us joining this group, knowing that I can't carry a tune? Maybe in the shower, and that's about it. But, she understood the process. She wanted us to be involved in activities outside of just sports. And little did I know that I was going to develop lifelong relationships with individuals in that choir. And it was an a cappella group. And so we did have to learn how to harmonize and, build true uh, teamwork, right? Count It All Joy was the second song that we learned as a group. And till this day, when we, come together in fellowship, we're still able to get our notes right. And it's funny how the song just resonates different with us now. We're able to witness and give our own personal experiences of how God's mercy really and truly has shown up in our lives and allowed us to really and truly have joy in the morning, despite the challenges that life has presented us. And little did I know that, Chaplain Paul was going to ask me to speak on joy and the experiences and how God's mercy really and truly has been a major part of my life, and I'm sure yours too. So I wanted to end with, as we're going into this season of being joyful and being thankful for the birth of Christ, that you take that challenge to make joy omnipresent in your lives. Like, you set the tone. It may be uncomfortable in certain situations, but I think in the end, you being able to take that step forward, uh, to be able to give back, however that looks for you, because we all speak and move differently, whether it be through laughter, tears of joy, giving a high five, a simple smile, a simple thank you, to express our gratitude to the birth of Jesus Christ.